These are the first photos I could find of me being 20 years old. It's in March of 2008. I'm with my best bud Aaron, and we're in New York City for our friend Emmy's wedding. Now, I don't know how to break it to this dork, but these next 10 years, they're gonna be tough. I mean, he's just so happy to be in the big city. He has no idea what's coming. This is how the rest of the video will be structured. Part 1 is early and before. This is the time before 2010, which feels like it was a life that belonged to a wholly different person. Part 2 is school, the whole sordid affair. Part 3 is improv and friends. The two are so tightly woven that this can't be told without them together. Part 4 is work and moving. This is what happened after school and moving away. Part 5 is travel. Not as much as I'd like here, but we should still cover it. Finally, Part 6. The story of my 20s can't be told without running. Now, before we get started, I'm going to talk about what I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the intimate details of any personal romantic relationships I've had. They shaped me as a person, they're very important, but it's just a little too personal to share over something like this. This was the start of my 20s, the beginning. I consider this time frame from about 2008 to mid-2009. The beginning of my 20s were a little rocky. It should have been great. I was in school doing what I wanted, just achieved a major milestone, more on that in the next part, and was well on my way to accomplishing what I set out to do. Then, I started to struggle. I caught mono. Yes, that's the kissing disease, but I have no idea how I got it. Certainly not from kissing. The way I found out I had mono is a story in and of itself. I couldn't sleep, and my head was throbbing. It got so bad, I had to call up my friend Katie and have her drive me to the hospital. This is actually the hospital she took me to. Well, it was. They tore it down. When I got there, they said I was extremely dehydrated and had to pump me full of fluids, 2 IV bags worth. Then they gave me something for my fever, but it made me crazy. Katie said she could see my heart beating through the vein in my neck. I was freaking out. They had to give me some kind of sedative to counteract the effects and calm me down. Then they took blood samples and told me I had mono. The cure was nothing special, lots of rest and hydration. Mono made me incredibly tired. I couldn't focus on schoolwork for long stretches because of how sleepy I would get. This was the start of a bad cycle. I was falling behind in school, which stressed me out, which made me more tired, which made me fall behind even further. Eventually, I just got really depressed. I ended up holing up in my apartment and not leaving for days. This eventually led to me failing out of school and having to move back in with my parents. This part of my life sucked. I felt hopeless, directionless, and like a failure. But luckily, this was only the beginning.